Good evening, good morning, good noon, and good night. This is DTM Real Talk, and we are keeping it real this evening. Guys, I am so excited today. Yes, I am excited. For the past 3 weeks, first of all, if this is your first time chiming in, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Get it out to your family and friends. And we so appreciate you to the utmost. We just might be able, to get you on the right track if you're off. We just might be able to bless you, encourage you, or inspire you. So please share the channel with your family and friends and just subscribe. Please do that. Now, for the past 3 weeks, guys, we have been exploring the question, at what age do we reactivate real love? And what we discovered is very powerful, is that real love has no age limit. And last week we had the privilege of witnessing a living example of agape love through the waves, and it was truly moving. For those of you that watched it, I've got the emails, I've got the text messages, how impacted you were, and surely I was as well. So this week, I would like for you to hear a story that I had the honor of witnessing firsthand, a true display of agape love in action once again. And it is so powerful that I've decided to re-air it in 2 parts. So I need you to grab your pen and paper, because I promise you this story is going to impact you deeply. This is part 1. So listen in. Okay, tell the people where you're from. We want to talk about, because you guys have a very unique story, and I can't say that I'm definitely an eyewitness. Yeah, so I'll let you tell that. But anyway, where are you guys from? Tell the folks where you're from and how you met. That's where we're gonna start.
Dallas, Texas, born and raised, and still living here. You know what? Oak Cliff, that's my hood. You know, that's where we roll. You know, and listen, when I met this woman, Lord help me.
Well, you want to know how we met, right? That was the question.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want me to tell how we met?
Go ahead. Okay,
so,
I'll take up all the time, so you better let us talk.
Okay, so we met because my cousin was living with me, and we went to Jack in the Box late one night. Mm-hmm. And in the drive-through window, his best friend was there, and he was taking with my cousin. So I didn't know my cousin invited his best friend over. So I'm coming home from down the street, and there's these guys in my yard. I guess his best friend said, "Hey, man, she got a cousin. Come with me." So I meet him, and you know, from the very first time I met him, he said, "What'd you say? Tell the people what you said."
I said, "You gonna marry me?"
Upon first introduction, okay? And I'm like, "Dude, I just met you." Like, okay. And so then we go into the house. You know, we introduce him to my mom because she's there, and he says, "I'm gonna marry your daughter." And my mom was like, "Okay." And we've been together ever since.
He left out a lot of detail.
Yes, she did. And people want to know.
He left out a lot of detail.
Okay, I know.
See, now she got a couple things right. Well, you got your part right. But see, from the other side of my friend, when he invites me to come, so you gotta realize, back in the day I had long hair, about as long as hers. So I was can I just be real on your show?
Yeah, you could just be real, boo.
I was called a super hoe.
Ladies, man.
Get it, SDB, how it go again?
I was a super hoe. We had a group called Super Hoes on Patrol, and we was on patrol. So I'm telling you, I wasn't looking for no woman, for no wife.
Okay.
But anyway, a friend of mine, he comes by my house after meeting her cousin, and he tells me, "Hey man, come on, she got a cousin. Why don't you just come with me?" I'm tired. I didn't want nothing to do with it. I'd already been talking to a couple of ladies before, but you know, listen. But when he came to me that morning, knocking on my window, I said, "What?" He said, "Come on, man, come with me." I didn't want to go. I had no intentions of going, but I did get up, put on just whatever I decided to put on.
He looked very nice too. Creased pants, nice shoes, pressed shirt. You know, he was
Yeah.
I had to stand up to the rep. It was called the shop boy. Super hoes on patrol. That's what we were. Yeah, so anytime I got dressed, it was to the T. So anyway, we're walking because it wasn't that far. You know, it was a matter of fact, it was a cool summer morning.
Mm.
I'm gonna break it down to you like that.
Break it down to me, SDB. Break it
A
down.
cool summer morning. But I was hot because I really didn't want to go. So I'm kicking and screaming all the while walking. And my friend, he's about 10 yards in front of me. So I'm following this joke, you know. And so we finally get to her place. He's still about 10 yards. Now he done sped up a little bit because now he want to get to her cousin. But I'm kicking and screaming. And on the way there, as I turn the corner, I hear God talk to me. Now, understand this. My dad's a preacher. My dad's a preacher. My mama's dad's a preacher. So I got God coming from all kind of ways. But me and him didn't jive. We didn't. I'm just being real. I'm just real because I was a super hoe. I was having fun, teenage. Anyway, see, I told you I was going to take up all your time. So you ain't got time.
The people need to know. Because, see, I know how the story is. So the people need to know. Keep going.
Okay, all right. So since the people want to know, this is what I was doing. I'm walking, and as my friend is speeding up, you know, trying to get to her cousin, I hear the voice of God, and all he says to me is, "There's your wife."
Now, mind you, I didn't know about this until after we had been married for a few years.
Wow.
He didn't tell me that part.
No, because listen, when I first heard it, I stopped in my tracks because it was like you talking to me right now. I heard it just as clear. So I stopped and I looked around and I was like, ah. So I keep walking.
Mm-hmm.
And he says it again, "That's your wife." I stopped then because I knew who was talking.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, "Okay, Lord, well, who is she? I don't see nobody."
Mm-hmm.
So I keep walking. And as I come across to the front of her house, she comes around the corner. And he goes, "There she is."
So we're walking from opposite directions.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's coming from the left and I'm coming from the right, you know, around a corner. And when he said, "There she is," I was like, oh, okay. Listen, this girl, she was a little petite.
What was I wearing, babe?
She had on some red shorts.
You remember the shorts?
Hey, look.
Wait, I was impressed that you remember.
Some red shorts. She had on a nice colored shirt that had some stripes on it. And she had on this red lipstick. Boy, it was looking good. I tell you. And so when he said that, I was like, yeah. so that's the first thing I tell her. I didn't tell her my name. I didn't tell her nothing. I said, "Hey, you gonna be my wife. You gonna marry me." And then she was, nah. Well, we just met. Well, you heard that part. Well, we go and meet her mother. I told her mother that, "Hi, how you doing?" I told her my name. I said, "Your daughter's about to marry me." Just like that. She said, "Okay." So we've been together ever since. Hey, and God has been good, you know.
Okay. So now, so you got married. Let's fast forward. You got married, and did you have a child, or what happened there?
So interestingly enough, when I met him, I already had a child. I had an 8-month-old child.
Okay.
And you know, I kind of thought, you know, this is probably gonna be weird. He's a teenage boy. I'm a teenage girl. I already have a child. You know, so thinking that, oh, he's probably just gonna want one thing, because you know, what do people think about a girl that already has a baby? But he was so the opposite. He was not trying to pressure me to have sex with him. That wasn't really on his mind. And we started dating. Now he was already he was going to be a senior.
Yeah.
And so he was getting out of school early. So he got a job to help me pay for daycare. And every week he would get paid, he would come and give me his entire check. And I would use it to pay daycare or buy diapers, whatever I needed. Mm-hmm. And then I realized I was in love with him because he got out of school early and he would go pick her up from daycare and he would go to my mom's house and take care of her until I got home. So one day I'm walking home and he's sitting outside playing with her. And just the way he was interacting with her, I looked at him and I thought, oh my gosh, I am in love with him. to see somebody interacting with your child that way.
Yes, yes.
You know, and I tell people all the time, I do believe that he fell in love with her, but long before he fell in love with me.
You, right.
So then, you know, we ended up getting married. Well, I got pregnant, you know, and then we had already said we are gonna get married, but we ended up getting pregnant with our son, and went ahead and got married. So it was his senior year, my junior year. What was it like? We were on spring break when we got married.
Yeah.
The spring break weekend, we got married, and on Monday had to go back to school.
So I spent my senior year married with a kid and one on the way. So and then through her junior year, was it junior year?
I was pregnant my senior. Yes, I went into my senior year pregnant, and then I gave birth shortly after school started.
Okay, so now you have 2 kids.
So now we have 2 kids, and people thought I would probably never graduate, because I already had a child. And then, now you're pregnant again. You're definitely not going to graduate. But when I graduated,
and you married?
Yes. So when we graduated high school, he had a wife and a child on the way. When I graduated, I had a husband and two kids.
So
okay. So
I know it's a lot.
No. This is good. This is good, people. Y'all hear this? This is how it happened. See, I knew this. Okay.
It's real talk.
This is how it happened. Okay. So after you got married, talk about maybe a couple of things that challenges that you may have had, because every marriage has challenges.
Oh,
those very challenging
challenges.
Yeah. And especially being young, you know, it's already hard enough on any level on a normal day, but then when you add being teenagers and then multiple children into it, it does come with its baggage. And so he had decided to go into the military, and that was going to be his choice of career to support us. And he left. Of course, I'm a senior now. I got 2 small children. I'm living at home with my mom, and we had great parents. My mom helped, his parents helped. We had great family support. So I think that's why he was comfortable leaving and going away, because he knew I'd be taken care of. But, I think the distance, put a little strain. We try to stay as close as possible. But once he got out of basic training and then I graduated, we moved with him to El Paso.
Okay.
And he was gone a lot. He was in the field a lot, and I was away from my family, and it was just hard. It was hard. And I think some, distances came because, he's in the military, they're taking him away. I'm spending a lot of time by myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Far as the time apart, the military, it's totally demanding, because you've gotten another wife, if I can say that, with the military, because it's demanding on you. If your wife is not a military person, it can be very hard, especially the job that we were doing. But being young and dumb and away from your wife, and being the nature of a man, listen, it was horrible.
Went to war, so so then we're in El Paso. Then he gets called to war while he's over in the Persian Gulf, the first Persian Gulf War. I found out I'm pregnant with our third child. So of course it wasn't like today where you have cell phones and video. Like, we couldn't have done this then. So I had put together this cute little package with baby diapers and all this stuff to send to him over there. So when he opened it, he would know, hey, we're about to have a baby. And
total shock. Loved it. You talking about a man jumping on top of a tank, Jack? I was up there.
But then he tells me, mind you, we saw the movie Ghost before he left, right?
Right.
So when I tell him that I'm pregnant, and then I think he finally got the call, he's like, I knew it. I wanted to leave you something just in case I didn't come back. Really? I already got 2 somethings. You wanted to leave me something?
But when I left, I know what I planted when I left.
Oh my God.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, this is good. This is good stuff. So the challenge of him being away, how did you really handle that?
Well, I ended up coming back home.
Okay.
When he was in the Persian Gulf, a bunch of things happened. Like, our apartment was broken into, and it was a lot to
life
challenge on my own.
Okay.
And so his dad and his mom drove to El Paso, picked me up and brought me back. So I moved back in with my mom, and just, being a single parent, it was like I was a single parent, because he wasn't there. And so, trying to just hang out with my friends and reconnect with friends and do things that, have relationships, which was kind of hard for me because I'm an introvert, but I work hard at being an extrovert. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was difficult for me just interacting with other people and trying not to tell my family or his family how difficult it was for me and that I was really struggling. So I kept a lot of things bottled up. Mm-hmm. So when it came, fast forward, later on, when we started having some trouble, it was kind of a shock to everybody because I was keeping things to myself, because think about it. He's in the Persian Gulf. We can't talk. I'm going months without talking to my husband, and I struggle with writing letters. So I often felt guilt because I wasn't writing him as much as I probably should have been. And I wasn't sending packages as much as I should have been, but I was young and I didn't have anybody holding my hand like you see Army wives and this group of Army wives. I didn't have that network of support saying, hey, this is what we do. We're here for you. Your husband's gone. Let's send nobody. There was no education. There was no support, and my mom was an Army wife, but I don't think she truly understood it or she didn't know how to walk me through that process. So I think we always really loved each other, but I think that at some point I almost started having a little bit of resentment because it's like, you're in the military, you don't have these kids, I'm here by myself with these kids, and I can't really get a break. And I didn't know how to convey that to him because he's at war. So just the battle of trying to be upbeat when he calls and not make him worry about home. And so you're dealing with all these emotions at one time. And I didn't know to like just be in prayer about it. And I didn't have that one person that I could go to. So I kind of was in my own little prison, I think.
Sure. And I think the world doesn't really understand the real responsibility of being a mother and a wife at the same time. I tell people all the time, young women, they say, oh, I don't do anything. I just stay home. I say, no, you're a home management specialist.
Yes.
So y'all got that?
Yes.
Specialist, because you managing the kids, you managing the house, managing the husband, you keeping everything in order, and that's a lot of pressure because everybody has needs from the husband on down. Everybody got needs, and then you have needs.
And I didn't have self-care. If I could go back and talk to myself again, I would say, put yourself first sometimes, have self-care and have an outlet, have somebody that you can holds barred, tell how you feel and what's going on with you, and they're not going to judge you and you don't feel judgment. And I'm sure that I had that in his mom, because she was always there, and I probably could have gone to my mom, but it was my own perception that kept me from opening up.
Right. I think
say that again.
Yes.
It was my own perception that kept me from opening up, that fear of being vulnerable, and letting my guard down 100%. And I knew how much his mom loved me. I knew how much my mom loved me. And even his dad, it was just me. It wasn't anything they did. I know they would have been there for me. It was my own self holding me back.
So it's possible that an individual can be in prison in their own head.
Yes, 100%.
And make everybody else think it's all okay.
Yes.
We put up this facade.
That image. That's what
that image.
Okay, so things got a little rocky because there was a departure. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, as far as getting rocky, it was real rocky to the point where we got a divorce.
Okay, what led to that before you go there?
Yeah, what led to that was coming back home and finding out all these things that's going on in her mind, and the distance that we've already spent away, and just not being able to support her the way she wanted to be supported. I understand the military life, but then I said once I got back from the war, and that was it. I was done. I'm not going to war for nobody else, especially the way it happened. And then we got withdrawn. So she was like, if you don't get out, I'm gone. But eventually I got out and she left anyway. But you know, some things other than that transpired, that you know, listen, being young and dumb and not really understanding marriage and the struggles that marriage has on people. It's marriage is not easy.
Absolutely not.
You know, it's and when I talk to people now after what we've been through, I just tell people, you know, we like to eat. You know that, right? And so
yeah, I know that.
So I think I'm just going to interject this right here before I go on. Marriage is like a brisket. When you're cooking a brisket, every hour is related to years. So the first 10 to 12 hours, your brisket is on the fire. So your marriage is on the fire. And so if you want a good brisket, it's going to cook 10, depending on the pounds, it's going to cook 10, 12 hours, right? And then after that, it's going to sit another 8 hours just to manicure all the seasonings and the fat juices and all that into your brisket. So you're looking at what? Almost 24 hours? So relate that to years.
One piece of meat. 24
One piece
hours.
of meat, baby. And you got to slice it and cut it and do all that. So marriage is tough. Marriage ain't easy. When your marriage is under fire and under pressure, you know, from other people, from work, from kids, everything.
Before we sign off, let's talk about that. Your marriage is under pressure from other people. Talk about that.
So for me personally, I grew up in a household where my mom had been married 3 times. And, you know, when we were kind of going through a little rocky space, my mom had said to me several times, well, you could just get a divorce. You could just get a divorce. You could just get a divorce. And after her saying that so many times, I think I started taking it to heart and thinking, well, maybe I'm missing out on something. You know, maybe I could just get a divorce. And before I knew it, I had made up my mind that that's what we're going to do. And I had a dream, and in that dream, I couldn't find him. He was nowhere around. And so I rationalized it, taking, you know, that dream, what my mom had said to me multiple times with, well, then maybe it's not meant for us to be together. And so I think for him, when I told him that I wanted a divorce, it threw him for a loop. Yeah. I don't think that, honestly, hands down, I don't think he ever would have walked out on me. I don't think he ever would have left me. I don't think he would have ever chose anybody other than me. That was, once again, Jet being in her own headspace. And you make a choice in a second that affects you for the rest of your life. And that one choice that I made, my children still suffer, you know, because they still have battle scars. They were innocent casualties of war. I still, you know, it took a while for me to allow that area to be healed because I blame myself for tearing my family apart, you know. But on the flip side of that, once we were divorced and we got over it, I had some growth, you know.
Stop right there on your growth. I want to hear what he has to say about your news that you wanted a divorce.
Well, of course, it rocked my world, you know, because to me, she was my woman. And to hear that, I'm like, wait a minute, no, what is this? The devil is a lie, you know. And so, no, I didn't take it well at all. You know, now I didn't fly off the handle and do crazy stuff. Oh, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna commit suicide. No, I ain't doing that for nobody. I love her, but I ain't doing that. But I'll let you leave. You want to leave, you can leave. But you know, I wanted to be like Richard Pryor, but you're gonna have to take me with you. But you ain't leaving. But I had to let her go. You know, I couldn't.
You had to let her go.
You know, but here's the kicker. The way she left. Yeah, it was bad. That was heartbreaking. It's not the fact that you told me you wanted to work. I can deal with you telling me that, because in the midst of you telling me that, we can work some things out. Right. And that was my intentions.
So, but what happened with that was, once I verbalized that I wanted out of the marriage, then I started getting pressure from everybody to stay. And I had everybody coming to me telling me, oh, you need to stay. And so it just got to be a lot. So literally, and it seemed like it was planned, but it wasn't. It just kind of happened. You know, I thought my plan was I was going to leave the state. Okay. I knew that I couldn't still be in Texas and we not be together. So I need to give him the whole state. But I wasn't brave enough At this point, I wasn't
The whole state.
the whole
The whole state.
we need to have a whole
She moved
state.
to another city in the state. She moved out of the state. She just left.
But the thing was, I had already made plans to move to Georgia. I had a friend that was going, so I was gonna piggyback, and I was gonna tell him. But that after all this pressure, it was like a pressure cooker, and I didn't deal with confrontation, and so I just needed out, like for my mental health. And so my daughter had gotten up that morning to go to school. When normally I would take her to school and leave the two little ones at home asleep with my mom. I think he was at work or something. I don't remember.
No, I was asleep.
Oh, he was asleep.
I had to go to work that day.
So, but then when she got up and then the other two got up, I thought, I could make a clean getaway. Nobody will ever have to know where that I left. They'll figure it out when they get up. I'll deal with the fallout of it later. And so I ended up leaving. And
while I'm asleep.
While you was asleep,
Pocket? And while my mom was asleep. And I drove my mom's car to a point and left it parked somewhere and had somebody pick me up. Now, mind you, young, stupid, dumb. The way I left was shady. It was underhanded. And I couldn't see another way out.
Now, in mine, I don't cuss at her. I don't hit her. I don't mistreat her.
I know this.
You know this. Even when I wasn't saved.
Right.
When she was my wife, back then, before Christ, I still treated her like a queen. That's because she was part of me, and I understood that. And we'll get to that the next time. But
okay.
I don't want to go too fast, too far.
He wants to tell us about the queen next week, y'all.
Let me say this. I think that knowing how good he was to me, and I really had no reason to do what I was doing, I didn't want to face it head on. Yeah. So that shame and that I'm going to just bow out and then I'll deal with it later, So once again, a choice that you make in a moment has lasting effects for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing. I hope that you young couples and y'all old people too, listening
to
what these two have to say. Because next week, we're going to hear how the broken shield was mended. So This is DTM Real Talk. We're just keeping it real.
Yes.
Enjoy your evening.